I always say it will take a domestic worker to change this sector. So you cannot relate to challenges that domestic workers are going through if you've never done it. If you are abusing me in a certain way, or how no go how salary below, it is because you have never worked a mile in that shoe. And particularly the employer, because we do also hold for the employer, educator or domestic workers are like Lindy. Sometimes they have dreams beyond being a domestic worker. And we're not saying be friends, but sometimes understand ambition. So Lindy was fortunate to have an employer who cared enough to say, can you not go to school? And also training, upskilling, because how upskill a domestic worker, you are helping yourself. How I to swim? Then she knows how to swim.
That is
so I
true.
think, yeah.
That is so true. But let's quickly go to Facebook. About so far the conversation. My mom works for a black couple. Yo, they are a blessing in our lives. It's like my mom is working for her daughter or son. Their kids love her and they pay her really well. So it's not all doom and gloom. They even go as far as investing in your children's education, making sure they go the extra mile for their domestic workers.
When I was going to school, I used to have friends, and they take care of them and stuff like that. But I'm going to my sister. Do you think and some of them back jail I'll never do you think are we too choosy as Abantabash? We don't want to start somewhere down and go up like Usislindi did.
Yes, I think there are people like that who are not willing from the bottom.
Yeah.
Yes, like most people, they say they'd rather than domestic work. So I do think most of us young people are very choosy, which is it's a bad thing because we all have to start somewhere. Because even abantu successful, they started somewhere. So I think if nale industry improver, then abantu they should.
Why do you think they don't prefer about domestic work? Is it because maybe they don't preach enough about opportunities, or not enough good stories are told about this industry?
I think it's about mostly stories. Like if you look back, apartheid, so they still have a perception of most in the kitchen you'll be abused and you'll never be allowed to reach your full potential. So I think that's the main reason.
I also think because we like that microwave success. We want to be successful now. We don't want to invest in ourselves. Let me come this side. Do you think domestic worker so much that even I would rather sit at home than to look for helper?
Yeah, but I think us as youth, the more my careers are maning ila aneimali eswafunayo. So domestic worker is not something that you dream of. You wouldn't find I wish I could be a domestic worker. You'd find I want to be a doctor, I want to be a policeman, because those are the careers that are actually brought forward to youth.
Please pass on the mic to the lady next to you. What would you like to see changing in this industry, maybe to make it look more attractive? When you change.
Rata dumedisa batho kaofela ke nna le tlhono re tswejane ya nka rata go bona batho ba banyane no
okay
go thata gore motho monyana a ka ba a domestic worker because o ka bona thaka how it ba more successful than you. Yeah.
All right, cool stuff. So when my minister Valanje, in the office we especially abo mama besekhaya bangama helpers ukuthi this is what you need to know before you get into M17. So that ungasitholi explaining ngelanga whereby usuyaxoshwa and akunalutho ophuma nabo.
Yeah, ngizocela ukuqala lapha yana la ukuthi khona kungani abantwana abancane bengafuni ukuba ama domestic workers.
Yeah.
It's from us, a community ngokwayo. If you are a domestic worker, uqala ukudiscriminatewa by the community. Ohlala nayo ukuthi hey phela umntwana walapha unomakhishi usebenza emakhishini, and then ba end up labantwana bengafuni ukuthi babe onomakhishi. I-discrimination ikhona kakhulu kwi community. Endleleni mawugibele itaxi ama domestic workers ayadiscriminatewa uzwe bethi abomama abamnyama bakithi bathi kunuka iperfume la etekisini hayi phela it's Sheila's ngithi kuqala bese offer ngolesini kuthiwa i-Sheila's day i-Sheila's uthathe yonke iperfume kaMadam wayithela ngayo so ke manje abantwana abakhulayo bayayisaba leyo nto ngoba ibabukisela phansi ibadonsela phansi isithunzi sabo sihuduleka phansi.
Thank you so much. Well, that's how we come to the end of our program. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we tutile a lot today and we can all work together as a community to make sure this industry elengure affected directly le ka make sure gore improve. But on that note, re tla le bona gape go sasa. Goodbye.
At 9 a.m., it's time for Game Plan. At 9:30, catch Daily Teta. And at 10:30, let's watch TOMZ. Brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
All right, isikhathi sifikile Mzansi. It's that time again. It's TOMZ o'clock. We're watching SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. This is the show that serves you nothing but the very best when it comes to scientific entertainment. Yes, sir.
And most definitely the two awesome bros are in the building. And we're about to take you guys into another beautiful journey into the world of life, science, and technology. So sit back, relax, because we've got a jam-packed show just for you.
Absolutely right. So what I'm talking about, Spitting Togas.
Yeah.
Nani?
Yes.
And tell you what, she's actually made a name for herself in the chess industry.
So this girl has mastered the board game in so many levels, Bafetu. Started when she was young, making her actually one of the best in the world.
Tell you what, I cannot wait to actually find out what was Patile namhlanje. Kodwa ke ngithi mina asiqaleni ihlelo Bafetu, uyayibona leyo nto.
Namhlanje we all about black and white and the city checkmate. So why are we still here?
See what you did there. Let's go.
Tshepeng yena o ile a fumana passion ya ho bapala chess ho tlola a sana le dilemo tse 3. O ile a fumana di-awards tse ngata tse a ntseng le tsona ka jeko le tse tshwana le the top South African female chess player. Ha re bone hore hantlentle chess yona e bapala jwang. Re fumana hore chess yona le evolution ya teng hantlentle e tswa kae. Ka lebaka la hore di-computers ntse di tswela pele di hlalefa ha re bone hore bokamoso ba artificial intelligence bo ya kae. Ke nako ya hore le wena o tsebahale ha re bapala the TOMZ quiz.
All right, team, Zanti nako ifikile for you and I to communicate via our social media pages. What is your favorite board game? Let's see what you guys have to say on social media. Coming up first on our Twitter, we do have Olisi_MX, and he says, I love 30 seconds. I also love 30 seconds of my favorite because as with Tini, I am just smart and I kill it when it comes to 30 seconds. Self-love. Anyways, moving right along, we do have Ubuhle_J, and he says, I love Monopoly. Monopoly, now I'm not the growing up, I actually loved playing Monopoly. Anyways, please do keep those comments coming in on social media. On Facebook, we are of course TOMZ. On Twitter, at TOMZ_SABC_1. Right now, it's going to say Batini. Let's go, Club.
We're still at it again with our roadshow of Affairs City touchdown at the Hill High School. And today we're all about calculated moves to Kulumang chess. And right next to me is Umchita and Zombuza, my Christian. What's up, my guy?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, what's your name?
Muzi.
Okay, Muzi, Mfunu Kena boy, Yini chess.
I came like it involves like kings, queens, and things like that.
i-chess i-board game edlalwa abantu about-2 basically kumele ukuthi umuntu a-check-e like at the end of the day it's like i-maths. Yeah.
Okay, so ngitshele ke abantu abadlala i-chess ba-benefita ini babaceda ukudlala le game?
Actually lowo muntu uthola i-knowledge out of that thing.
Knowledge, of course, you know, a sense of understanding, because the game requires a lot of thinking and things like that.
You learn how to think outside of the box, you know.
Okay, so ngichazele ke ukuthi i-chess abantu abayidlalayo badlala kanjani?
It's actually like people trying to figure out where the games, the queens and the kings move, and
Like there'll be 2 people involved, of course, and then like there's gonna be one color, another color, and then one guy will move at this time, another guy will move at that time.
Can artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence, I think it's like technology basically, like the ways into ezingakhona. For example, ama-computer, ama-robots, lezi into ezikhona la emhlabeni.
So today we're all about knocking out opponents by exploring a board game ebizwa nge-chess. For sure abaningi benu niyayazi, abaningi benu bangabaniyazi, check this out.
Chess ke game e bapalang ke batho ba babedi ba sebedisang a chessboard ebile they maneuver 16 characters ka sebedisa melao e re sebedisang in chess. Game he tsebala holo ka lebaka la hore it's got complicated maneuvering and strategic planning hore o tsetse ho hlola motho o bapalang le yena ka hore o ntshe di-piece tsa hae kaofela and capture the king, and ntho yona re bitsa hore ke checkmate. Chess yona ke an art e leng hore e sebedisa strategy, movement le hore o nke di-piece tsa hao by strategizing hore o tlo kgona ho wina le hore o itshireletse ka nako e one. The oldest ancestor ya papadi e re bitsang hore ke chess e fihlile lelemo tse 4000 tse fitileng, and re bitsa hore ke Chatungara. E tswa ko India, and how e bapala o sebedisa di-characters tse tshwanang le ditlou, dipere, chariots, masole le dihosi. The most recent ancestor ya chess e fihlile lelemo tse 2000 tse fitileng e bitsang hore ke Chaturanga, e leng hore e bapala ke di-Persians and Arabs. Chess yona is designed by a champion player in the 1840s e re tsebang ka sekole, and le lebitso la ke Howard Staunton. Ka the 1980s, on the computer programs tse le re kgona ho tseba ka melao ya chess, conducting basic searches ya di moves tse ngata tse re kgonang ho di etsa and strategies ka metsotsonyana fela.
So in February 1996, the world's chess champion Garry Kasparov faced his biggest opponent, a computer named Deep Blue, that actually won. And the world was shocked.
Now, the computer was able to explore potential moves as well as evaluate 100 million positions per second.
Wow.
Sure.
Now that's amazing. Tell us what you think on our social media pages. We're going to take a shot at break. We'll be back.
Samoya.
This is a women's month. Strong women. It's Pambiling Amakosigazi.
Yes.
We did it then, and we still are doing it now.
Born in Orlando East, Soweto, by the time she was a teenager, Sophiatown was an artist hub. With echoes of jazz and soul music had taken a hold as an expression about the politics at the time. It's quite evident through her dancing.
Wonderful era that we're coming from.
Yes.
And of course women, strong women, and music makers, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it even more than I used to when I was much younger. It's amazing.
Let's all acknowledge Abigail Kubega, SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Busisiwe Siabe. I am the One Day Leader Season 7 runner-up. When thinking about gender-based violence, the first thing that comes to mind is about how our society has put women in a position where even when they're not consenting, they're at a constant state of consent. Enough is enough. But obviously enough is not enough on its own. And I am raising my hand. I'm not just raising my hand to fight gender-based violence, but I'm raising my hand to be able to call men to come to the party, to come forward and to understand and to recognize that as women, as children, as marginalized groups, as the disadvantaged, our no means no. I don't particularly understand what it is about the no that society does not get, what it is about no that men don't understand. Is it the N, is it the O, or is it the word itself?
Hey learners, we're invested in your education. So please note, in alignment with the SABC mandate to provide the Republic programming that informs, educates and entertains, the SABC is providing learning support programs across all its platforms. We are here to enhance and evoke learning in every learner of our land. During these testing times, and these are some of the subjects that are being taught. Remember to stay safe, adhere to all rules, and good luck with your studies.
And just like that, we're back on your tellies, Bafethu. You guys are tuning to SABC 1 in Mzansi for sure. And it is teenagers on a mission. Today we're all about a board game, chess.
Absolutely right. Namhlanje Bafethu silandela uhambo lomuntu oyishaya kakhulu chess, yabo. Azukuthini mfana? Lo muntu lo is next level. Ngoba igama lakhe futhi Bafethu ke uThepang, and namhlanje we'll actually be finding out why she's good at what she does.
Have you ever played chess before?
Yeah, my boy, in primary school, and tell you what, it showed me flames.
Really?
I was only good with tennis.
Because this girl, she taught me everything. Check this out. Running the streets of Gauteng, it's your boy C-A-D-D-Y, pronounced Caddy. City touchdown SCDB Mapetsu. So today's mission is all about rooks, kings and queens, bishops and pawns. For sure, you guys getting Kulumangani. If not, well, it's time for you to find out. Let's go get them. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
And yourself?
Great, great. You're still busy.
Let's continue this after the break, okay?
Hello. Unjan.
Everything okay?
You're sharp. You're a very special person, and you're our mission today. So why are you so special? So tell us who you are, where you're from, and where are we?
Okay, right now we're in Vanderbilt, but I'm from Free State. Welcome. It's a day. And then you're here because I play chess.
Okay, chess. Interesting. Okay, chat again. What is chess exactly?
Okay, chess is a game that requires a lot of mental power. Like you just use your brain, you sit down for hours not saying anything. You push pieces, combinations, you analyze. So basically the objective of the game is to checkmate your opponent, and that's how you win the game.
The scientists said the computers the instruction stating. Artificial intelligence. It's an area of science and reason. Research here, artificial intelligence is highly technical and specialized. In the programs study computer, traits, knowledge, reasoning, problem solving, learning, and planning. The computer algorithms say in the computer so artificial intelligence device the search engine, the technology it changes
So it's cool about you joining the world of chess. How did it all come about?
Okay, I'm a chess baby. Firstly, my parents met through chess.
Wow.
And then at the age of 3, my sister taught me chess. It was very funny actually because we played without kings. She couldn't explain to a 3-year-old how the king moves and the complications behind that. But then since then I was playing it was casually until when I was 9 years old, met my coach, and he's been coaching me ever since.
Okay, so chess is just like black and white blocks.
Squares, pieces?
Yes,
okay.
Pieces. Let's talk about the theory of chess being a sport.
Okay, let's compare it to, let's say, hockey, right? If a hockey player, let's say the defender is thinking, I need to pass the ball to the forward or the wing, they do that, and you guys can see that, right? But with chess, everything happens in the mind. right? When you're sitting down, no one can actually know what you're planning until you actually move it, right? And maybe you've calculated like 10 variations in your mind, but no one actually sees it. And that's where all the theory takes place. The knowledge that you accumulate over time is the only knowledge you can use during a game. You can't like use some method you've never. Chess is kind of boring to watch, but like once you're in the game, it's actually pretty interesting.
You being a tutor umuntu ofundisa i-chess, sitshele ngelanga lakho ukuthi ufundisa abantwana abangaki, and what is the difference between a chess player and a teacher that teaches chess?
Well, for me, advantage I am a chess player, so Katseba as a chess player and what I appreciate knowing. So right now I'm busy with the CD being under 12 and 14 girls. I'm very happy with Kiruta Banana because there's like a gender inequality in numbers within chess. I'm teaching about, it's always between 10 and 20 girls because each team is made up of 6 plus its reserves. And then you just teach them what you think will be necessary for the nationals. The nationals is when each union has all the teams play against each other. Like this is CD Bang, it falls under Gauteng, but it's CD Bang. There's Joburg Metro, there's Western Province. So they all play against each other to determine who the national champs for each age group are. Right. So here we just teach them what we think they fundamentally need in total when they go to nationals and they play, even at nationals. They'll come back, remember this, remember that, okay, let's prepare for the next game. So like I said, there's a lot of preparation that goes before you actually play the actual tournament, because during the tournament you play long hours, you're tired, you need to sleep, you need to eat. So prepping over all of that will be too much for the young kids to handle.
Okay, so live CD Bang ufike kanjani?
Okay, I actually used to play for CD Bang. I moved around a lot from Welcome to Perez back to Welcome, right? So I played for Northern Free State, I played for Free State, and then at some point I played for CD Bang. So this is like just me giving back to a union I once played for and to just see it grow. Because I mean, there's way more players than when I used to play. I mean, they have 2 girls teams. And so yeah, it's just me giving back.
Okay, great.
The computer head is a information le data. It's a computer, it's in so step by step. The computer will execute this order by following each step mechanically to accomplish the end goal. Algorithms and a step-by-step process or sequence. Instructions so far a computer and so the correct result. As long as a clear instruction has been given to the computer, the algorithms had the calculation, process data, and it can have automated reasoning.
Okay, so when you're being a teacher and at the same time being a player, to practice when?
Okay, so what I usually do with the kids is that I teach them something that I also want to learn, but obviously the standard is different. So I'll do the more complicated, intricate manner of learning something about, let's say, the more principles about the end game, the more complicated ones, right? And then when I think about their lesson, I just need to break it down to a standard which they understand so that I don't confuse them or overload their brains, everything. And then in the mood of preparing for their lesson, I'll also shift up to something else for me. So when I do chess, I do it collectively for the players and for me as well.
So besides this, what do you do?
I'm a student at Vert second year.
Really?
Yes. I'm studying psychology, I'm doing philosophy and Portuguese.
Yo, okay, psychology, philosophy, chess.
Psychology has a lot to do with the mind and how the mind operates, like how your personality develops, how you develop from an infant and how that influences you as a grown person, how your past experiences shape who you are. So there's like a lot of theories that have to do with how the brain works, and I think that links to chess because there's a lot of psychology in chess. I mean, if we're to play a game and they told you all these things about me, if at some point you're scared, I've already won half the match.
Very smart, brilliant, wow. So achievements, what have you achieved so far?
There's a long list from the small to the big achievement, but my most biggest, like the biggest achievement of all was when I was 13 years old, a week from turning 14. I won the African Junior Chess Championships under 20. and that's when I got my title of Women International Master.
Wow.
So that's been my biggest achievement. Right now I'm the top highest rated female in South Africa, and I'm planning to make it go abroad. I'm in the top 10 of the African females. So yeah.
Yo, high five.
Sure. Yo. I look at what shy into like hands down.
Yeah.
But my boy, isn't it crazy what time computers can actually learn for themselves? Like, we live in a world where computers can actually have their very own intelligence.
What's gonna happen to us if our computers start developing their own intelligence?
It's over for us.
Yo. Hit us up and tell us what you think on our social media pages. Konamai, we're gonna take a short ad break. Don't move, don't shift, don't yagaza. We'll be back.
Can you feel it? Put a little sunshine in your heart. Feel it. Can you feel it? Put a little sunshine in your heart. It feels so good. It feels so good.
SABC launched an educational channel to help support learners to study remotely. The channel's robust PBA schedule ranges from formal, informal to interactive learning. The SABC Education channel will be digitally streamed via the following platforms: SABC Education Portal, SABC Education Virtual Academy, SABC 1, 2 and 3's websites, and social media platforms. Check the SABC Education website for more information. SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
I'm the Afrocentric citizen with a global mindset. I don't conform to norms set by society. I seek for opportunities in everything while reimagining, shaping, and influencing a new South Africa, Baba. I'm not afraid to break boundaries by stepping outside of my limitations. I am fearless, authentic, and conscious.
Join in the conversation on Daily Teta every Monday to Thursday at 10:30 to 11:30 only on SABC 1. Zanzi, for sure.
Alright, Mzansi, just like that, we are back with your best sci-tech show in the land. And I'm about to be TOMZ, right? Yeah? On SABC 1, Mzansi, for shizzle.
Most definitely. I'm sure we're hanging out with Tepang, who's actually showing us her chess skills. Yes. And if we just find out about computers that can actually play chess.
On that note, do you want to see what else we have in store for you? Well, have a look at this.
We have a stereotype, I'm sure everybody thinks chess is for people who are smart. Let's go about the discipline. Like, what kind of discipline do you need to have in order for you to actually play chess? And can anyone play chess?
Anyone can play chess, yes. If you can teach a 3-year-old chess, anyone can play chess. The discipline, yes, you have to have a lot of discipline like any other sport. The work you put in is the work you get out. So you can't just go to a tournament and expect to be top place when you don't have your theory checked, when you haven't got any practice before that. So I think that a lot of discipline is also used when you play the game, because you don't talk until you're done playing. Wow. You don't communicate with anyone until you're done playing, and it can go on for hours. I once played a 6-hour game that ended in a draw. Wow. So a lot of discipline is used, and
One thing I got from playing chess is that you need a lot of concentration. Easy peasy into foods that you benefit from the game.
For me now, when I'm studying, I can now sit down for long periods undisturbed because I already have the discipline from the game that chess. And then also calculating, you need to see pieces move in your head without actually moving them. So it's actually all of that, and also creativity, because you don't always want to be regurgitating you also want to be creative, but also play the right moves. So decision making, prophylactic thinking, you need to think what your opponent is going to respond and things like that. So it's actually very good in terms of subjects that require a lot of calculating, a lot of concentration, and a lot of precision.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure. And there you have it, Bafethu. We came, we saw, and we conquered. At the end of the day, it's not just an ordinary board game. It's all about focus and discipline. Otherwise, let's be saying mission accomplished. Your boy CADDY, pronounced Caddy. Let's see. Checkmate.
My favorite part of the show has finally arrived. With science and technology. This is the part of the show where you actually get to put your knowledge to the test with our TOMZ quiz challenge. I hope that you two at home are also ready to play along on our social media pages. When it comes to our TOMZ speed round master, let's play the TOMZ quiz challenge.
Dumelang kaofela TOMZ la tsebo re le rata haholo ebile le kgethile ho rona, and that is why in today's episode re le checkela The Hill High School. La tsebo re le re ikemiseditse to have some fun with you guys ha ntse re ithuta ka lefatshe le makatsang la science and technology. Lights, camera and action. Are you ready to experience the ultimate edutainment? Let's about all about science and technology. Re le ra ba botsa di learners ka science and technology lo re influence jwa maphelo a re wa phelang ka jekule. Re ba file dibuka tse to ba fang matla and keep them motivated. Dibuka tse di to ba thusa ka career guidance hobane ke nako e tshwantseng ba nahaneng ka bokamoso ba bona. It's cool to be smart, children. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And how to TOMZ by your side, learning becomes fun and in turn re bitsa re ke edutainment. That's what we learned through playing. We did exactly that, Kabapala, the TOMZ Dance Off Challenge.
I'm going to ask you a question. The first team to press the buzzer gets to answer the question.
We tested their knowledge with the TOMZ quiz where we saw Team A winning the first round.
Give it up for Team A. Bad news is you guys are no longer a team.
To the next one, a great line learner Asavera Nkungwane, knocking everyone out and moving forward to play the TOMZ Speed Round Master.
It's true.
And the correct answer is definitely true. Well done to you, you've been knocked out. Okay, but first, TOMZ Speed Round Master. Well done for making it this far. So what's going to happen here? Now, I want to let my piece. You're going to move him to another spindle, right? You have 2 minutes to do all of this using one hand. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Your time starts now.
Hello, Rotlohono Fenya, the pyramid puzzle, Rotonga Libitola, on the TOMZ quiz. Molo Rotlohono Babala with students from other schools, Rotlohono winner the ultimate mega prize. Hello, Ruleno Batar Chakela Skolosa. All you have to do is visit TOMZ at sabceducation.co.za. And who knows, your school might be next.
4, 3, 2, 1. And your time is up. What happened?
I wasn't concentrating that much.
Okay, you weren't concentrating that much. Do you have any shout-outs?
I'd like to highlight my friends, the Venom Clan, and I'd like to highlight the Hill High and everyone who loves me.
We're calling it a wrap up, so thank you so much for joining us. Back to studio.
So with the development and growth of artificial intelligence, if you share it to Izobibugega Ganjan, advances in artificial intelligence enable a disaster response for dangerous situations. Robots other advances to the implants artificial intelligence the new frontiers the ocean and space.
I give a picture to speak my picture in all too, but don't you despair because you can still hit us up on social media because the conversation's on Facebook. We are facebook.com/TOMZ, on Twitter at TOMZ_SABC_UNO.
Yes, most definitely. Even safuni information ending topic at all you have to do is visit our website www.sabceducation.co.za/TOMZ. Sitimanje, checkmate. I'm Fresh by Kerry on Twitter.
And at IMC_G on Twitter.
Until next time.
Bye.
TOMZ. Hypersensitive hearing hyperacusis from a very young age.
Re bone na hore hobaneng ena tshaba dintja ebile modumo wa teng o le irritating ka lebaka la the loud box. Re bone na hore hantle the relationship ya hae le dintja se e le jwang ka jekole.
I'm from a very small village, Yakutolo, Estwadweni in the Eastern Cape. I studied public relations at CPUT. I'm actually still doing my BTech right now. So I'm a working student who happened to find herself doing Miss South Africa, and so it's been quite a crazy balance, but you know, I'm here now and ready to take on the job.
Congratulations! One of our own South African women putting us on the international map. So it's true. Dream big, put your mind to it, and it's possible. This is one iconic person with their crown on with pride and inspiration.
I've always been an absolute fan because of the women that came out of it. Boba Setsane Khumalo, Peggy Sue. You can just see the work that they're doing in South Africa now. And I always, speak about Boba Setsane, and I said she got crowned when I was very, very young, but we're still talking about her even now because of the change.
Let us acknowledge Zosbini Tunzi, SABC Education, enriching lives, enriching minds.
From 11 till 12, it's time for some grade 10 mathematics. From 12 till 1, it's time for some grade 12 life sciences. And from 1 till 2, it's time for some grade 12 accounting. Brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello grade 10s and welcome to another lesson. Today we're going to be looking at number patterns. Now one of the things about number patterns is it's really all that mathematics is based on. Everything from your grade 1 year or even your grade R year in many of your cases has been based on how to analyze what is happening to numbers. Let's take a look. Now I'm sure you've seen a puzzle like this one before. 8 becomes, let's get 8 becomes 56, 7 becomes 42, 6 becomes 30. So what does the next one become? Why don't you take a minute and try and figure it out? Now we actually found this number pattern on a social media network, and so you've probably come across it before. Were you able to get the answer? Did you discuss it with your friends? And this is part of the process with mathematics, is looking at how does one number become another number, and can that pattern be replicated? In other words, can you repeat it to another number? Let's take a look at what the answer is. So we have 8, and something is done to it to become 56. Now, we could have either added a number or we could have multiplied a number. And I like the multiplying because it's more simple. And maths is all about making it simple for yourself. Now the 7 became 42. And if I want to carry on the pattern that happened in the first one, I need to multiply this by something. What multiplied by 7 gives us 42? Well, that's going to be 6. Let's see if this pattern continues. For the next line, we have 6 multiplied by what is going to give us 30. Now, if our pattern's correct, we've got 7 multiplied by 8 gives us 56. 7 multiplied by 6 gives us 42. So it should be 6 multiplied by 5. Does it work? Yes, it does. So that means with the last one, we're going to have 4 multiplied by something. And I hope you realized that it would be multiplied by 3. Why? Because we're always multiplying by the number that's below it. And that's equals to 12. So there we go. If we wanted to put this into an algebraic form, we could describe the number as a variable. So let's say 8 is equals to x. And then the number it's being multiplied by, we would describe in relation to it. So because 7 is 1 less than 8, we would say 7 is x minus 1. So our pattern would be x times by, in brackets, x minus 1 would give us the answer. But sometimes putting x's into things like this takes a bit of the fun out of it. Now, in maths, we find number patterns everywhere, but all of those numbers came from a place to begin with. If you've got a bit of spare time, I'd like to encourage you to look for patterns in life and see the numbers that are there. Like, how many days are there in a season? Is this true for all the seasons? Are the same number of days in winter as there are in summer? And what are the defining characteristics between those? Also, number of hours in a day. Is there some kind of rhythm in that? And girls, we can all talk about our cycles and the number patterns that happen over there. Well, on to more pleasant things like mathematics. Let's see what the next slide has in store for us. And for this slide, you need to discuss 4 different terminologies. We have difference, ratio, term number, and term value. And I want you to look at the person who's next to you and just discuss these 4 different terms. Take a look at them again and discuss that for the next minute.
Busisiwe Siabe. I am the One Day Leader Season 7 runner-up. When thinking about gender-based violence, the first thing that comes to mind is about how our society has put women in a position where even when they're not consenting, they're at a constant state of consent. Enough is enough. But obviously enough is not enough on its own. And I am raising my hand. I'm not just raising my hand to fight gender-based violence, but I'm raising my hand to be able to call men to come to the party, to come forward and to understand and to recognize that as women, as children, as marginalized groups, as the disadvantaged, our no means no. I don't particularly understand what it is about the no that society does not get, what it is about no that men don't understand. Is it the N, is it the O, or is it the word itself?
No matter how much cameras and equipment we have to capture wildlife, we can never get these spectacular shots. So wildlife scientists have discovered a way to get small cameras trapped onto animals so that they can get these shots, including underwater. Animals with Cameras, Sundays at 6:30 on 3. The stage is yours. Own it.
I hope that went well. Did you make a new friend? Probably not, because you're sitting next to your classmates and you like them already, don't you? So let's go through the different terms and see how your definitions compare with my understanding of what it is. The first thing we're going to talk about is the difference. Now, if I ask you, what is the difference between this and this? You're going to tell me the one is my left hand and the other is my right hand. I'll tell you I don't know which one's which, and then pick up a pen and go, okay, this must be my right hand. But other than that, you're going to notice each has 5 fingers, but they're opposite. Now, with difference in number patterns or difference in numbers, we're looking at what's the same and what is different, and what is different about the numbers. And generally, we're talking about the distance between the numbers on the number line. So the difference between 1 on a number line and 4 on a number line is 3 spaces. So the difference between them is 3. To find the difference, we need to do a subtraction problem. 4 minus 3 is going to, 4 minus 1 will be equal to 3. Okay, the next word we're going to discuss is ratio. Let's take a look. Now, ratio is a lovely word. It reminds me of the word relationship. I don't know why, but it does. And it helps me to remember what it means, because a ratio is a relationship between 2 numbers. Let's say the relationship between 3 is to 4. Now, this can also be written as a fraction. 3 divided by 4. So ratios can be written as fractions and ratios. And if you look very carefully, you might see the divide sign over there, which changes it into the fraction. So the ratio is the amount that one number needs to be multiplied by to get another number. So if we go back to our previous slide, we see that 8 needed to be multiplied by 7 to get to 56. Now, the rest of this number pattern doesn't really help us with this kind of thing. But if we wanted to increase 9, let's say 90, make it more challenging, in the same ratio as the previous problem, what would we do? Well, we would multiply it by 7. What is 90 minus 7? Oh, sorry, 90 multiplied by 7. Well, I hope you can get that. Let's look at the next word. A term number. Now, if we have a number of numbers, a sequence of numbers, let's say the number pattern is 1, 3, 5. Can you guess what the next one is? I hope you said 7. We would talk about these positions as term numbers. So, in the first position, we have term 1. In the second position, the term number is 2. In the third position, the term number is 3. Can you guess what this position is? Let's hope all of you said 4. Now, the term value is what the value is in that particular place. So let's say in term 2, our value is 3. In term 4, our value is 7. Okay, I think we now have the terminology you need to progress to the next thing. And remember that grade 10 is not so much analyzing one particular type of pattern. It's about learning the skills of analyzing all of the patterns. So I could give you a pattern made up of matchsticks, and you would have to continue it and tell me how many matchsticks I would need to make the biggest pattern, or whatever my criteria are. I could give you Smarties in a triangle shape and ask you to predict how many Smarties we would need to make the 17th term. Whatever it is, you need to use your intuition and all of the skills that you've learned up until now. And I don't just mean grade 10 skills, I mean 9, 8, 7, 6, all of them. And most of all, think. Don't think just because it's maths you're going to find the answer immediately. Go through and try each one. Try different ideas. Let's take a look. Okay, so here we have a list of all of the written definitions, and we have gone through this in quite a lot of detail. So I'm going to skip past it and look at the first question. Or not. How about this? We have a challenging question. I want you to look at this pattern of hexagons and then determine how many hexagons there will be in the 10th pattern. So that means the 10th number. There would be a 4th number, a 5th, well, not number, but figure, a 4th figure, a 5th, a 6th, all the way up to 10. So how would you get that? I don't know. Let's take a look. Here's 1, but what is happening over here? What is different about these two? Anyway, I'd like you to consider that for a while. We'll come back to it. We are going to have a show at the end of the term where we go through all of these challenge questions, and I look forward to seeing what you've come up with. So, the first real question for today says, determine the general term of the following sequences and the value of the 25th term. What does general term mean? Well, general term is the algebraic way of writing something down. So I'm going to do the first one for you, just so you can see what's happening, and then we'll see what else. You can try the rest. So we have 6, we have 12, and we have 18. How did we get from 6 to 12? I think we've added 6. Let's see if this pattern continues. Yes, it does. 12 plus 6 is 18. So that means I am adding a constant difference of 6 every time. What am I adding it to? Well, the first term is 6, but the second term is 12. So maybe what I'm doing is, instead of adding 6, I'm multiplying n by 6. What is n? N is my term number. So if I were to do this in a table, let's draw one very quickly. Tables help sort out everything. Here's my n, term number 1, term number 2, term number 3, and I'm going all the way to term 25. Term number 1 was 6, term number 2 was 12, term number 3 was 18. What is the relationship between 1 and 6, and does it continue for 2 and 12? And can it be replicated again for 3 and 18? Yes, it can. It's going to be 6n. So n is equals to 1. When I substitute that in, I'm going to get an answer of 6. When n is equals to 2, 2 times 6 is 12. And 3 times 6 is 18. So our general term is going to be Tn is equals to 6n. So our 25th term then is where we substitute 25 in for n. And this little 25 at the bottom doesn't really do anything mathematically. It just tells us, and let's circle which one I'm talking about, it just tells us this is what we're going to be talking about. Okay, now, do you know what 6 times 25 is? Why don't you take out your calculator and try it out. We're going to cut to a break now, and then when we come back, we'll do some more number patterns.
I'm Webster Morrison, an ex-contestant on One Day Leader Season 7, and on the show I advocated for artificial intelligence. I'm very uncomfortable talking about gender-based violence, to be honest. As a man, firstly, I feel like it's not my place to speak on the pain of individuals that have gone through the worst of times. I do consider myself as an abuser, primarily because I was born male and primarily because of how I was raised and how I interacted with society. Me not being able to hold other men accountable when they do weird things and do violent things. I think as a man, what I should do is listen more to what the cry is on gender-based violence, and I'm raising my hand against gender-based violence and the scourge of abuse against women and other minorities. No means no.
I'm from a very small village, Yakutsolo, Esdwadweni in the Eastern Cape. I studied public relations at CPUT. I'm actually still doing my BTech right now. So I'm a working student who happened to find herself doing Miss South Africa, and so it's been quite a crazy balance, but you know, I'm here now and ready to take on the job.
Congratulations! One of our own South African women putting us on the international map. So it's true, dream big, put your mind to it, and it's possible. This is one iconic person with their crown on with pride and inspiration.
I've always been an absolute fan because of the women that came out of it. Bobasitsane Khumalo, Peggy Sue. You can just see the work that they're doing in South Africa now. And I always, speak about Bobasitsane, and I said she got crowned when I was very, very young, but we're still talking about her even now because of the change.
Let us acknowledge Zosbini Tunzi, SABC Education, enriching lives, enriching minds.
Hello again, welcome back. Did you have a good break? I hope you got some fresh air and you're ready to now try these number patterns. So I'm going to be a little unconventional now, and yes, we've only just said hello, but I want you to try these number patterns yourself. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes to look at the remaining 3 number patterns that we haven't done, see if you can determine what the general term is, and then find the value of the 25th term. Sometimes it's easier to find the value of the 25th term and as a result find the general term, but take a look. Okay, let's look at the slide. So the 3 number patterns I want you to try are at least B, C, and D. See if you can do them quickly in 3 minutes. So are you ready to see how you've done? Let's take a look. Now, we're going to go through each question individually. And of course, we've already done the first question where we found that Tn was equals to 6n. Oh, why am I putting in brackets? Let's take those brackets out. My brain is actually rushing ahead to where we needed to substitute not 35, but 25 into it, giving us, what is 6 times 25? Let's use a calculator to find that out. And I just happen to have one here with me. So 6 times by, 6 times by 25 equals 150. So the 25th term is equals to 150. But we weren't really interested in that. What we were interested in were these three problems. So let's start with this first one. Is there a common difference between 16 and 8? Well, there is a difference of 8, but the difference between 8 and 4 is only 4. So that isn't the pattern that's happening. To make this more simple for myself, I'm going to put it in a table. Why? Because tables make my life easier, and maths is all about making my life easier. So remember, the first row are the numbers of terms. My first term, in other words, term 1, is 16. My second term is 8. And my third term is 4. Is there a relationship between 16 and 8 that can be replicated to form the same bond between 8 and 4? Well, if we think about it, 16 divided by 2 is equals to 8, and 8 divided by 2 is equals to 4. So what do you think the next term will be? In other words, the fourth term. What's 4 divided by 2? It's going to be 2. What about the fifth term? What is 2 divided by 2? 1. So we can see where things are going over here. We've started with 16, we've divided by 2 and we've got 8, and we've divided by 2 again and we've got 4, and we've divided by 2 and we've got 1. So now let's go and put this into algebra. We started with 16 and we divided by 2 to get 8. Now that means that term 2 is actually equal to 16 divided by 2. Now term 3 is equals to term 2 divided by 2, right? Because it was 8 divided by 2. Now we've already said that it's going to be 16 divided by 2 as the value for term 2. So let's put that over here and then divide it by 2 again. Now I know I've made this look very, very complicated, but where I'm wanting to go with it is that we have started with a number, and I'm going to call it x. And then in the second term, we've divided x by 2. And in the third term, we've divided it by 2 again. So we've taken x, divide by 2, and divide by 2 again, which means it's divided by 4. And then we're going to divide that by 2 again and divide it, which means we're dividing it by 8. Now if you think back to your exponents, what this could be written as is x and x multiplied by a half and x multiplied by a quarter, which we know is actually a half times a half. So where I'm going with this is what we actually have is x times by a half to the power of 0 for our first term. And for our second term, we have x times by a half to the power of 1. And for our third term, we have, and let's extend the page a little, we have x to the power of a half multiplied by 2. Did you notice that each one of these exponents are one more? Now we have a fancy way of getting this right in maths. What we'd rather write is x times by 1 over 2 to the power of n minus 1. And the reason I've done n minus 1 is because, oh, and my scroll bar, there we go, because n was 1 in the first term, 2 in the second term, but when we do the exponents, it's a half to the power of 0 for the first term, and a half to the power of 1 in the second term. Okay, grade 10s. By now you're looking at me and going, where is that x coming from? I don't understand. All you're dealing with is this half, and yet we've still got 16, and you're telling me about multiplying by a quarter and multiplying by an eighth, and I really just, please, find the meaning in my life. And so I'm going to. You see, what we're multiplying by is a common ratio. And because we have a common ratio, we know that this will be multiplied all the time, and it's to the exponent power of n minus 1. What we haven't determined is the value that it is constantly being multiplied by. So what I'm going to do is try a little experiment. I'm going to put the value of the first term into this expression. So in other words, I'm going to make x equal 16. And my theory behind that is 16 multiplied by 1 is going to give me an answer of 16, so it'll work for the first term. The second term I wrote down as x times by half to the power of 1. So what is 16 times by half to the power of 1? It's 8, right? Well, let's just write it down just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So what I'm saying, and I'm just going to erase all of this over here, is that I'm going to replace all of these x's with 16. And let's see what we get. 16 to the power of, 16 times by half to the power of 0 is equals to 16. Is that term 1? Yes, it is. And 16 to the power of 1, 16 times by half to the power of 1 gives me 8. Look, we have the value of term 2. And lastly, let's just draw a little line here so that everyone can see that I'm only talking about this one. 16 times by half to the power of 2 is actually going to be 16 times by 1 over 4, which is 4. So glad you got that right. And that's term 3. So does this number pattern hold? Yes, it does, which means that our general term for this number pattern is Tn is equals to 16 times by half to the power of n minus 1. Now, in order to find the 25th term, I'm going to bring out my calculator and put it to the side and type in 16 times by, and let's put a half in brackets, and then to the, my other bracket, to the power of 25 minus 1. And let's get our answer. Wow, that's a big number. Okay, grade 10s with that. We're going to take a bit of a break. When we come back, we'll look at those other two number patterns and a lovely surprise question. See you just now.
My name is Wasim Karam, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Development Agency. I, Wasim Karam, as a young South African man, raise my hand against gender-based violence against women, against rape against women, and understanding that when a woman says no, it means no. I urge my fellow young South African men to equally stem this tide. It rests with us as husbands, as boyfriends, as fathers to stop the abuse against young women. I urge young men, fathers, boyfriends to take a stand against this perverse disease that has crept into our society. Let us accept that no means no, and to build a better South Africa for all of us.
This is a women's month. Strong women. It's pambiling amakosigazi.
Yes.
We did it then, and we still are doing it now.
Born in Orlando East, Soweto, by the time she was a teenager, Sophia Town was an artist hub. With echoes of jazz and soul music had taken a hold as an expression about the politics at the time. It's quite evident through her dancing.
Wonderful era that we're coming from.
Yes.
And of course women, strong women, and music makers, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it even more than I used to when I was much younger. It's amazing.
Let's all acknowledge Abigail Kubega, SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello again and welcome back. You might be surprised to know that those two previous number patterns are number patterns that you could expect on your matric exams. The first one is a number pattern called an arithmetic sequence, but don't worry, you'll learn more about that in matric. And the last one we did was something called a geometric sequence. Now in grade 10s we don't focus on a particular sequence or a pattern or anything. We focus more on the ability to recognize how to deal with them. And the last one, I think maybe I was a little mean by giving it to you, but it was fun, wasn't it? Okay, the next two are very closely linked. I hope you saw the link. Let's take a look at them. So, the first one, I'm going to draw a little table over here because we won't need too much space. It's actually quite an easy number pattern once you see it. So we've got term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4. And they are equal to 1, 4, 9, and oh dear, I made a mistake. That should have been 16. Huh. Well, how did I know I made a mistake? Because I intended this number pattern to be n squared. So that means 1 squared will equal 1. And 2 squared will equal 4. 3 squared will equal 9. And 4 squared will equal 16. So my error was that I skipped out 4 squared and went straight to 5 squared and put it down as 25. Oh, we all make mistakes, and unfortunately mine has now been immortalized in video, but hopefully we have learned from this. So watch out for these particular numbers. Squared number patterns and cube number patterns are favorites to be given in tests and exams. So if you know the numbers, then they're easy to recognize. Okay, for the next one, I'm going to cross out that fourth term because it no longer makes sense. And we're just going to look at the 2, the 8, and the 18, but we're going to look at it in relation to the above pattern. What do you notice about the 2 and the 1? And about the 4 and the 8? What about the 18 and the 9? Can you see that they're all being multiplied by 2? That means that our general term is Tn is equals to 2 times the previous one, which is 2n squared. Okay, grade 10s. The next part of that question would be to substitute in the value of 25 and find the final answer. You all should have a calculator near you that you can grab and plug in 25 squared, find out what the answer is, and it'll be huge. It might even involve some scientific notation. And then you'll multiply that by 2 for the other question. And see that figure 3 is just figure 2 that's been divided up. So I'm just going to draw in those other triangles from figure 2. And can you see that each triangle has been divided by 4 again? Okay, the questions say, draw a picture what the, sure, that'll be interesting. And B, give a formula to represent the number of triangles of the same size if expected in figure N. Now figure N is another way of saying the general. Okay, so you need to find the general term. And the last question says, Les wants to continue until there are exactly 1,000 small triangles of the same size. Explain why that is not possible. Okay, grade 10s. We've got it on screen, and you've got 3 minutes to try this out. On your marks, get set, go.
In Ndabayake in Empangeni, local rural schools are closed like all other schools in South. Students here don't have fancy gadgets to do learning in fancy ways. They have no extra data for YouTube. They rely on solutions provided by government through the media.
Ngiyafunda nge-TV kuyangisiza. Somehow njengokuthi ngithi mengifunda uthola ukuthi uthisha ngangamzwanga. The time emile phambi kwami bese ngiyafunda ke yabo understand indlela achaza ngayo.
O-test 2 bami bengakababhali no-test 3 bengakababhali. Mase ngibuyele esikoleni kube sekulula lapho ukuthi mangibhala izifundo zami iphusheke ngiphase zonke futhi.
Those in matric here feel they've done too much repetition through this method.
Kune disadvantage ukuthi usuke ufundisa umsebenzi vele sengiwazi. Mina ebeng-expectile mhlawumbe njengoba kune-lockdown beng-expect ukuthi mhlawumbe sizofunda term 2.
A 2-hour drive south takes us to Pinetown, where we meet Talente Ebekulu, another matric pupil. He goes to Pinetown Boys High School.
Matric is very difficult because of this pandemic, and the most difficult part is that we're missing out on a lot of work, staying at home, even though teachers do send us work, but I find it difficult to tutor myself.
This is where inequalities become clear. The expensive government school Talente goes to ensures he and other pupils communicate with their teachers through various technologies.
Normally our teachers reach us by email, Google Classroom, and other social media platforms such as WhatsApp, and an app crafted by Google called Google Hangout, where we can have a conference. It's more similar like Skype, but our teachers normally, our English teacher basically normally does poetry on that platform. I normally understand better when a teacher sits down with me and explain the concepts that we studying.
Some high school pupils say they need assistance with internet access, so they too can access more information.
At time to time we have data problems.
Uma kuyenzeka ukuthi basisiza ngedata, isifiso sami bekuthi yena besisize ngedata engango 5 gigabytes. Lapho besizokwazi ukuthi singene kuwonke ama section, singene futhi na ku online ama data engasheshi ukuthi ephele futhi masingena khona.
It's not clear what this year's school education plan is. A promise to start coding classes for some pupils was also made during the State of the Nation address. But that plan can't properly go ahead because of the current COVID-19 challenges.
SABC launched an educational channel to help support learners to study remotely. The channel's robust PBA schedule ranges from formal, informal to interactive learning. The SABC Education channel will be digitally streamed via the following platforms: SABC Education Portal, SABC Education Virtual Academy, SABC 1, 2 and 3's websites, and social media platforms. Check the SABC Education website for more information. SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
For over 84 years, the SABC has been at the forefront of broadcast radio and television, bringing joy and happiness to the homes of many while continually redefining South Africa's media landscape. We do not speak with one voice. We let every voice in our nation find expression in language and in culture. We do not just bring the news, we provide content that is independent and impartial. We do not just broadcast sport, but we do it for the love of the game. We do not just entertain, we deliver local content, representing Mzansi for sure. We empower you with educational content that reminds you where you belong. With 19 radio stations and 5 TV channels, SABC 1, 2, 3, Education and SABC News Channel, we ensure that everyone in our nation is informed, educated and entertained. All the while knowing that at 84, there's still much more yet to come. Hashtag 84 years of SABC.
I wonder how many of you got past drawing the triangle. It's going to take a long time to draw this image. Now, keep in mind that we need you to save time in exams. So generally, we're not going to ask you to draw something. We're rather going to ask you to apply mathematical principles. But because this isn't an exam and it's a learning experience, we're going to take a look at how to draw this. Now, I have a template based on figure 3, and I'm going to divide it up to make it look like the 5th figure. So the first figure, we divided up into 4 triangles, and then we divided each of those 4 triangles into a further 4 triangles to get figure 3. So first we change figure 3, and let's take a look at my template. This is figure 3, and I'm going to change figure 3 into what figure 4 in all of the new triangles for figure 4. And we weren't asked to draw in figure 4, we were actually asked to draw in figure 5. But I know the information from this drawing will help us with answering the next one. Okay. You have obviously done this with a ruler, and yours probably looks a lot prettier than mine. And I encourage you to be as pretty as possible. I'm going to stop after I've drawn this last triangle so that I can count the number of triangles in this 4th figure. Okay, let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18. Thank you for staying with me. Did you know? Okay. Now, I've made an executive decision not to draw the 5th figure, but you can see how the 5th figure would be drawn. You would then divide each triangles up into a further 4 triangles. So how many triangles do you think will be in that one? Let's redraw the number of triangles as a table. And remember, mathematics is all about making it easier for yourself. And one of the ways we make it easier is we reduce our pictures into numbers. Remember, n is the number of the term, and I've got 4 images so far, or 4 figures, and I want to know the number of triangles. Let's look at the top one. Figure 1 had 1 triangle. So let's fill that in to our table. 1. Figure 2 was that 1 triangle divided into 4 triangles. So I now have 4 triangles. In figure 3, those 4 triangles were each divided into 4 triangles. So rather than counting it, I'm going to take these 4 and I'm going to multiply it by 4 because each one of them would contain 4 triangles. And that would give me an answer of, what is 4 times 4? Did you get an answer of 16? I hope so. Do you think the same relationship applies between that triangle of 16 and this triangle of 64? Well, we have a calculator, so let's use it to prove. What is 16 times by 4? And we're multiplying by 4 because each one of those 16 triangles was divided into 4. And yes, we get an answer of 64 triangles. So can you make a prediction about the 5th one? If you said you're going to multiply 64 by 5, or sorry, 64 by 4, that would be correct. So we're well on our way to finding out what the general term is. It's 256 over there. Because we have recognized already that the relationship is times by 4. We've got something times by 4, and then we've got times by 4, and then we've got times by 4. This reminds me of something that we've done recently. Can you remember how we show repeated multiplication? If you said exponents, you would be right. And remember, we only did that last week, so it should still be fresh in your mind. Rather than writing times 4, times 4, times 4, times 4, we're going to write times 4 to the power of whatever we've done. Okay, let me show you how. So, I'm going to make this a little easier for myself by rewriting 4 to the power as 4 to the power of 0. And then 4 as 4 to the power of 1. And 16 I'm going to rewrite as 4 to the power of 2. And I multiply that by 4 to get the next one, which is 4 to the power of 3. Is 256 4 to the power of 4? There's only one way to check. And, well, actually there are more ways to check than one. But we'll use our calculator. 4 to the power of 4 is 256. So we have our pattern. But the problem is the term number is not the same as the exponent number. Look, term 2 is not the same as that 1. And term 3 is not the same as that 2. Can you see that there is a relationship between them though? You should be able to see that it is 1 less than the term number. So that means the exponent is going to be 1 or 1 minus 1 or 2 minus 1 or 3 minus 1. In other words, it's going to be n minus 1. So that means our general term is going to be Tn is equals to 4 to the power of n minus 1. Now, I'm going to do the last question of this because we've actually done B already, which was give a formula to represent the number of triangles of the same size in figure N. And we've done that. So let's look at C. Les wants to continue until there are exactly 1,000 small triangles of the same size. Explain why this is not possible. Well, I spent a long time going through this and going, how do I show grade 10s that this is not possible without using logarithms, which is grade 12 skill? And then I remembered, you all know how to do exponents. So let's take a look quickly at the calculator. And we know that 2 to the power of 4 is 256. What would the next image be? 2 to the power of 5 is 1024. So the reason why Les can't get an image that is exactly 1,000 triangles is because there are only ones with 256 triangles and 1,024. Grade 10s, it has been wonderful having you again, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Goodbye.
From 11 a.m. till 12 p.m., it's time for some grade 10 physical sciences. From 12 till 1, it's time for some grade 12 mathematics. And from 1 till 2, it's time for some grade 12 physical sciences. Brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Happy Wednesday to you, class of 2020, and welcome to another edition of Ikeleza Nati. Kona like Agu SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Ikamaga Osia, and I am your host. Yes, Bafethu, namhlanje we're all about English FAL. So please do the right thing, Bafethu, to make sure your notepads are ready, because trust me, it's about to be an insightful episode. Now, do remember, Keleza Nathi is on your screens again. Jalo, Monday, from 5 to 6 a.m. exclusively to SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Now, we are very big on the social media streets. Let us know, man, how your academic goals are going and how your English is going. Lapana Eskolin Bafethu. On Facebook, we're simply Keleza Nathi. Twitter, GN_SABC1. On the gram, we're simply Keleza Nathi _SABC1. Now, Bafethu, sakul mangazi inkulu zokuxhumana Bafethu. Namhlanje is a Wednesday, and on Wednesdays, we are all about having our voices heard as the youth. So make sure that you join in on the conversation with GN. Tweet out at 2 p.m. on our Twitter page, which is simply GN_SABC1. And guess what? Just by interacting with us on the social media streets, you stand a chance of becoming the GN Facebook fan of the week. You walk away with 50 rands worth of airtime and a cool mystery prize. And do remember that every Friday we do announce the winners. And who knows, we could be announcing you on this week's Friday fan of the week on our Facebook page. So make sure that you keep it locked, Lapayana. Otherwise, Janet, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Well, thank you. And you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Oh, gosh, we're terribly smart. Okay.
So what are we doing on the show today?
Language. Lots of language. I hope you've come prepared.
Oh, I'm scared.
Good. Excellent. So I'm looking at how language is examined in the final exams. Really, that's my focus. Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? You use previous exam papers, and that's exactly what I've done. I've taken typical exam questions and said, okay, this is the kind of thing you get. Let's do some practice.
Absolutely right. So I'm looking forward to that once again. Thank you so much, Janet. Now, before we go to the commercials, since we are indeed approaching the flu season once again, and I know I've been giving you my tips on how to actually keep or stay safe. Now, I'm all about making sure that when you greet your friends or your family members, whoever, make sure that you greet them at least with an elbow or, with that kick, Make sure that you actually never shake their hands, because that's how the germs and the viruses can actually, pass on. So make sure that you do the right thing. English FAL. Do not move a muscle.
My name is Pearl Shongwe. I'm a presenter on One Day Leader on Morning Live, and I'm a newsreader on Metro FM. We have a society made up of human beings. Asina umphakathi wezinja. Ngakho kuwena lo wangizwisa ubuhlungu. If you want to fix this, you have to take responsibility and ownership and tell the next guy that no means no. What part of no don't you understand? Is it the N or the O? Every little girl in this country needs a protector. Every little girl needs a safety net. Whether she is 5 or 50, if you have love in your heart as a man in this country, you will make it your business that your little sisters, your neighbors, your mothers, your sisters are protected from the vultures that are eating up the women in this country alive. And I too raise my hand .
Sesibuyile Mzansi usabukela igeleza nathi right here on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Now bafethu niyazi ukuthi like how we are all about a knowledge hookup, and today is no different. Now, once again, we've put together some terminology to help you out when it comes to English FAL. Awubhekela.
Sanibonani class of 2020. Ngiyathemba ukuthi senilungelele ilesson yethu ye-English FAL yanamhlanje. Now, today's English FAL lesson is all about language usage. Let's look at some terminology associated with the lesson and with general language usage. Acronym. An acronym is a word made up from the first letters of the name of something. When you use an acronym, connectives or words such as and or of are not included in the acronym. Some acronyms you may recognize are GIF, which stands for Graphics Interchange Format, and ESCOM, which stands for Electricity Supply Commission. Concord. Concord is the agreement between two words in a sentence. If the subject of the sentence is plural, then the verb must be plural. If the subject is singular, then the verb must be singular. For example, we say, the cat eats the rat, and not the cat eats the rat. We could, however, say, cats eat rats, but not cats eats rats. Apostrophe. In the English language, the apostrophe has two uses. 1. To show possession or belonging. For example, Odwa's shoes are smart. 2. To show that a letter or letters have been left out or omitted and the word has been shortened or contracted. For example, I can't believe it. Antonym. Antonyms are words that have opposite meanings. Happy is an antonym of sad. Large is an antonym of small. Synonym. Synonyms are words that have similar meanings. Synonyms of happy are content, cheerful, untroubled, and joyful. So there you have it, guys. Remember that you'll find that in your language paper, you're expected to be able to recognize examples of kinds of words we have defined today. So make sure that you add all of them to your personal dictionary.
Nazo-ke bafethu, I do hope that you did take those terms down ngoba ayokusiza later on in the year. All right, Janet, are we ready with the English FAL?
I'm ready. Do you feel ready?
Yeah, a tiny bit.
You're on the. What do you mean a tiny bit? You're on the spot. Okay, so FAL exams usually begin with this: correct the single error in each of the following sentences. So let's have a look at single errors. Okay, so we've got this. Can you see what's wrong with it?
WASH is an acronym that stands.
Yes, and do you see what Sia did? Is so often your brain simply corrects it. I mean, you've seen these things all over the net, yeah. So what Sia did is he couldn't see it, so he started reading it quite slowly and then said, hang on, okay, I want to add an S here. Tell me why.
WASH is an acronym that stands for Wash, Sanitation and Hygiene, because you're explaining exactly what...
I want a grammatical reason. I'm going to take over here because he's doing this again. Okay, so, all right. What is being tested here is concord. So please write down one of the things that you need to revise is concord. And what does concord mean? It means harmony. And what kinds of concord do we get? Well, we get subject, verb, agreement. So, agreement between two words in a sentence. If the subject is plural, the verb must be plural. If the subject is singular, then the verb must be singular. Of course, the problem is when you can't see what the subject is, but you picked it out immediately. Okay, so there are some examples. So boy plays, boys play. And you know, Sia, this is the one that scuppers for FAL students because of that S. Because generally if you say, I worked, you worked, he worked, we worked, you worked, they worked, it's all worked.
Yeah.
And then you come to the present tense. I work, you work, he works. It's that S that just FAL students forget about. The teenager listens. Because otherwise it's listen. I listen, you listen, we listen, you listen, they listen. It's all listen. It's that one that gets students and makes them make mistakes. Okay, WASH is an acronym that stand. You fixed it. Singular subject,
yes,
plural verb. So what do? You write down only A stands. That's it. You don't do anything else. Lovely. All right, so that was a concord one. Now look at this one.
Global Hand Washing Day is endorsed by a number of governments. Huh? Global Hand Washing Day?
Yeah, I mean, this is a paper that was set in 2015 about Global Hand Washing Day. We should have been paying attention all those years ago. Okay, so looking at it, you're going to have to look at every single word because you've said this day is, it's not a concord error. Endorsed by, that preposition is correct. A number of, that's correct. So you're going to have to look at every single word, because this is a spelling one. So what happens here, and I don't know if you remember, that first question has 4 questions. So it's A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
And they just test whatever they feel like. So you can't say, oh, these are all concords.
Yes.
No, you've got to recognize what am I being tested on. So it's spelling. Now, why is spelling important? You know, the reason it's important is so that students, if they think of a good word, like we were talking before the program started, and Tumi was saying the word benign.
Yeah.
So you think, I really want to use benign. I can't think how to spell it. So you say kind instead. I have a kind grandfather. But in fact, you wanted benign. And what has benign got that kind hasn't? And I'm also doing this. It's got a warmth. It's got a cuddly, warm, surrounding you, smiling. That's what benign has got as connotations, which kind doesn't. But you as the student writing in the exam might think, oh, I'm too terrified to use that word because I'm not sure how to spell it. And you choose a lesser word, a more ineffective word. My advice to you is, even if you don't know how to spell it, just try. Go B9, and even if you spell it B-E-N-I-N-E, the marker will realize, and you'll be given credit for the word, even if you're going to, oh, the child doesn't know how to spell it. But not a lot of words are lost for spelling. But that's why you need to spell. It gives you the confidence to use the words you want to use. Okay, right. And at the bottom of the screen there, it says words that are not spelt the way that you would expect them to be spelt. So assignment and bomb and scissors. Okay, so we go back to this. It was a spelling error. Okay, now I actually say government. Government. Can you hear? I actually have got the N tucked in there. Yeah. But often in English you don't say those letters. I would suggest you try to say government so that there is an N and you can hear it. But okay. All right, next one.
Yet, despite its life-saving potential, hand washing with soap is seldom practiced and difficult to promote.
All right, so what's worrying me is that students might think that this is the error, and it's not. Okay, they might think it's another spelling error. So we come to practice with a C and practice with an S. Off the top of your head, do you know how we use it in our South African English? No? Okay, that's the noun and that's the verb. So if you say, I am going to soccer practice, I'm going to what? I'm going to the studio, I'm going to the mall, I'm going to the car. It's a noun. I am naming where I am going. So it's a noun. If you say, at soccer practice today, I did something amazing. So at the field, at the classroom, it's a noun. So it would be practice with the C. This is the verb. I practice, you practice, he practices. So, yet, despite its life-saving potential, hand washing with soap is practiced. It's the verb, is practiced. So that is actually correct. But I honestly think that a lot of students would go, oh, I'm sure that's the error, and make it the C, and then it's wrong. So is seldom practiced and difficult to promote. I find this so interesting, off a past paper so long ago with something so relevant. Okay, now, so look at despite, that's correct. Life-saving potential, that's correct. I wouldn't put a hyphen. Hand washing, I wouldn't put a hyphen. Difficult to promote, it's correct. So the error is there, and it's one that people just keep on making it. Yeah. So this, it's okay. What does that apostrophe tell me?
It tells you that it's actually referring to something.
No, it's actually telling you that there's a letter left out. So if I said it's hot, yes, it's hot today. It is. So it is. Yet, despite it is life-saving potential, no. So it's got to be get rid of it. So let's just have a look. Apostrophe has 2 uses. I think we need to go through this some more. To show possession. So you've got the books are neat, friends. So See, what we want as English teachers is I want people to say singular position. I want people to say plural possession. There is a problem is that a lot of students will say to you, use an apostrophe for the plural, but we don't use an apostrophe for the plural in English. Plural possession. So possession, or the letters have been omitted, okay? And so you get, you shouldn't touch your face too much at the moment. This is should. What letter has been left out there?
O.
The O, okay, correct. Should not. Don't watch, same thing. Do not watch too much television. So there's your contraction. There is your full command. So this is the error. You've got to correct it, and you correct it to it.
Nice one.
Okay.
All right. Wow. There's a lot of things that your brain just, can miss, but when you look deeper into it, you actually see the errors. Thank you so much, Janet, for that. Right now, though, we're going to rush quickly to an ad break, but when we come back, it's more English FAL coming your way.
The minibus taxi industry today is the most critical pillar of the South African public transport sector. Not only is it the most available mode of transport, but it is also the most affordable to the public. But sadly, taxis are often seen as unsafe, and commuters have raised concerns pertaining to road crashes involving minibus taxis.
This taxi is not roadworthy. It will kill us. This taxi belongs to a local. I was surprised to see this taxi all the way from Joburg to here.
Taxi SA say they are looking to adopt better technologies, making use of universal connectivity and increasing data collection and analysis capabilities to make a positive difference in road safety.
We're looking at rolling out a telematics device which will understand the complete health of the vehicle. So it will be looking at how well you drive the vehicle, so not just the spatial component or the speeding component, but how you change gears, the engine load on the vehicle, all the fault codes which accumulate on this vehicle.
The company says monitoring the driver behavior is one of the ways to prevent the fatal accidents, and it is necessary to alert the driver when they are drowsy or in a distracted state.
The technology which we're employing will hopefully be able to understand driver behavior better, how the vehicles are behaving, what are the drivers and what data features are creating badly behaving vehicles, unroadworthy vehicles, and ultimately through these initiatives and rolling it out through the industry will result in safer vehicles.
According to experts, tire failure is a contributing factor. Now SA Taxi has entered into a partnership with Bridgestone to improve safety.
As recent as last week, we launched a deal that was signed between SA Taxi and Bridgestone on tires, where a tire that's specifically made for the taxi. Imagine the safety element. You've got a tire that is specifically made to be able to carry the load of those 16 people in the vehicle. All right? That tire is made so that if it can travel, the tread can travel the amount of kilometers it needs to travel. All right? What does that mean? You're saving on fuel. All right? More money for the owner in his pocket so that he can be able to actually do something else with that money, right? But also safer for the commuter, because if the tire, because of this deal, it used to cost 1,700, now costs 1,322 Rand 50. There's an average of about 400 Rand saving in there. All right. If you take it on 4 tires, because we never just change 1 tire, right? You're looking at about 1,600 Rand saving. That's money you can use on brakes. That's money you can use on shocks, which means the vehicle is safer.
Innovations such as these bring hope for taxi drivers and commuters.
If we get technologies in the car, it's good.
I personally think it would reduce a lot of accidents that are unnecessary, because it will obviously let the driver know in advance what needs to be done in the car in terms of the safety of the passengers and the community at large.
If only we're going to have technology that's going to help us to detect accidents and everything, I think some lives are money are saved.
Paisa! Paisa! Mama no mafari.
This video was uploaded online in December. It trended. Popular hitmaker DJ Maphorisa then contacted Kwesta Kufet for a studio recording. Rapper Casper Nyovest threw in a verse. On 31 December, a new song called Poyisa was released online. It became an instant hit without any traditional media involvement. Through the use of social media again, there's now a Poyisa social media challenge. Even celebrities like a rapper and poet Busiswa are sharing themselves as they dance to the song. Kwesta Kufet became a recording artist from one popular social media video. This shows that many need traditional media less and less to succeed.
Welcome back, Mzansi. You're still watching Keleza Nazi right here on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Janet, they say real television happens behind the scenes and, you know, when the cameras are not rolling.
Yeah.
And trust me, we're having so much fun right here in the studio. But anyways, Bafetu, Namjanja, we're all about English FAL, and we're not always about nje info namfundo. We always want to make sure that now lapaka you are safe. Now, in the Aisha Gwena Konamanja Bafetu, would stay indoors and keep social distancing. Make sure that you're at least a meter away from umuntu. Njoba and I'm not Janet. We are far apart right now, you know, making sure that we're not spreading any germs or anything like that. So make sure that now you practice social distancing. All right, so Janet, are we ready to continue?
No, I actually want to go backwards. I felt that I was rushing through the apostrophe. So if you don't mind, can I just go back?
Sure.
The apostrophe causes endless problems. All right, so there are two things that we use the apostrophe for. Do you remember what they are?
See now. You got me there.
Okay, so possession and to show that a letter has been left out.
Omitted, yes.
Okay, all right. So when the letter's left out, if you write cause, which I hate. So when I say when you write, it's not you. Okay, this is shortening. So this is short for because, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes it can be contraction. So if you say we'll meet again, so we shall or we will. So, okay. And then possession. This one, how do you remember this? I don't know, Sia, I always draw this, so you've probably seen this before. So there is your gravestone saying rest in peace. The gravestone looks like an apostrophe. So it tells you that the gravestone tells you somebody died. A letter died. A letter has gone, or here we've got more than one letter. So if you go, remember before the ad break we had its and its.
Yeah.
So we've got its. It stands for it is. So if it doesn't make any sense saying it is, then it's wrong. Okay, now we come to possession. And we use the apostrophe, but on nouns. So Sia, what I'm seeing now is there'll be a verb. He goes to the mall. G-O-E apostrophe S. You know, it's not on the verb and it's not on the pronouns.
Yeah.
So if you say, this book is mine, this book is yours, this is his, this is hers, this is its, this is ours, this is yours, plural, this is theirs. English does not put an apostrophe on pronouns. You know, guys, you've just got to learn it. I'm sorry, every language does it its own way. And I'm listening to Sia Zulu and thinking, yes, we do it this way. Godwa, I'm going backwards to do apostrophe. You know, good word there. But, so just look at it. We don't put the apostrophe on these are pronouns. Pronoun. We just don't. Okay? Now on nouns, it means of. So if I say Sia's pants, let's say, whatever, it's the pants of Sia. So that stands for of. So when people say to me, but I don't know where to put it. So let's say we've got books, and the books have all got covers. So first of all, we do not put an apostrophe on a plural. So the books, plural, they all have covers. Plural, there are no apostrophes. But if I say the books covers, it's the covers of. Now, did we have one book or lots of books? If we've got one book, the cover of the book, you can't hear the S. So then you've added the apostrophe and the S. Let me just make the apostrophe there. But if you say the covers of the books, books, it's already plural. So you can hear the S. Put the apostrophe after the S. I know that everybody in the world finds this so difficult. I get that. I just don't get why they find it so difficult. You know, just once you've understood it, it's not a problem. So don't put it on the pronoun, don't put it on a plural, and it means of. So turn it around. Sia's pants, the pants of Sia. Can you hear an S? No. So what have I added? The apostrophe and the S.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm very happy to do lots more examples, but maybe I should go on. Now remember we said question 1, A, B, C, D, and we've had contraction, spelling, apostrophe. Now this is D. What's wrong with it?
By 2015, this will reduce deaths between children under the age of 5 by 1/4.
All right. So what this was hand washing. Okay. So and they say by 2015. So in other words, this was set before 2015.
Yeah.
And they said if we wash our hands, we can reduce the deaths of children under the age of 5 by 25%. Okay, so an important thing. Right, so Sia, obviously you read it the first time, you didn't see it. Okay, we need now grammar.
Oh.
It is between. Any idea what part of speech between is and how we use between in English?
Between.
Okay, let me leap in to help you. It is a preposition. Now, some languages don't have prepositions.
Yeah.
They use, well, you're a Zulu speaker. Let's put you on the spot with Zulu grammar. If you go ekhaya, what is that E telling you?
Ekhaya, meaning where my home.
Does it? Does it mean my home?
Ekhaya.
Isn't that E? What does E mean? Doesn't it mean to my home, from my home, in my home?
Yeah.
It's the relationship between you and your home. So you're saying, I'm leaving home, I'm coming home. So my students will say to me, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm late, I am from home. And they're translating it straight out of mother tongue, okay? Because in English, we do not say, I am from home. I have come from home. I've just arrived from home. Okay, so this is, what do we call this in languages that use that kind of construction? Yeah, it's called a locative case. Okay, locative, locus means a place. So a locative is what you add to the word to tell me to, for, in, over, but English uses a preposition instead. Okay, so listen to the prepositions we've used. We said in and on and to and from and by and with. They are all prepositions. Okay, so they're showing me the relationship between a noun and a noun, or a noun and a pronoun. Okay, so the pen is in my hand. Okay, I've got this on me somewhere. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah. The trouble with between is you can only use it with two things. But children are more than two.
Yeah.
So now we have to use a different preposition. And that preposition is among. All right, so it's just a very picky use of the preposition. Right, so some of the things that you get in this particular question are actually quite obvious, like the spelling of government, or It's and it's. I'm sorry, if it's and it's doesn't appear in an exam, one's quite surprised as a teacher. Oh, this exam hasn't got it. I wonder why not, because we do it every year. This one is a bit more kind of grammar knowledge. I wouldn't expect an ordinary speaker to know about it.
Yeah.
And does it cause real problems with communication? No. If you say between us, it's fine, or between the children, I would understand. Okay. It does create a problem later on, though. All right, a preposition is a type of linking word. We've talked about it. It shows the position. We've talked about it. Can show position and time and place and direction. We talked about that. Between is used for two. Among is more than two. So we worked in a group of 5 students, discussed the topic among yourselves, not between. Between the two of us, because it's two. This between is wrong. It has to be among. But I've suddenly realized quickly before you take me away, you say between you and me, not you and I.
Yeah.
Okay. Not even going to explain why, but just remember it's between you and me. We're going to slip away now for a moment.
I like how you're fixing that language error there. Thank you so much, Shannon, for that. Now, Bafetu, once again, before we go to that commercial break, Bafetu, any tip for you to actually make sure it was safe and you are germ and virus free. Now, Bafetu, avoid crowded places. Ubani that might be infected ongawazi. So make sure that you avoid indawo is crowded. Okwamanje ke bafethu phuthuma seyitolo bese sibuye itolo sayiqhubeka indaba ye-English FAL ngayindawo.
I'm Webster Morrison, an ex-contestant on One Day Leader Season 7, and on the show I advocated for artificial intelligence. I'm very uncomfortable talking about gender-based violence, to be honest. As a man, firstly, I feel like it's not my place to speak on the pain of individuals that have gone through the worst of times. I do consider myself as an abuser, primarily because I was born male and primarily because of how I was raised and how I interacted with society. Me not being able to hold other men accountable when they do weird things and do violent things. I think as a man, what I should do is listen more to what the cry is on gender-based violence, and I'm raising my hand against gender-based violence and the scourge of abuse against women and other minorities. No means no.
In ndaba yakhe in Empangeni, local rural schools are closed like all other schools in South Africa. Students here don't have fancy gadgets to do learning in fancy ways. They have no extra data for YouTube. They rely on solutions provided by government through the media.
Ngiyafunda nge-TV, kuyangisiza. Somehow ngisho ukuthi ngithi mengifunda uthola ukuthi uthisha ngangamzwanga. The time emile phambi kwami bese ngiyafunda ke yabo understand indlela achaza ngayo.
O-test 2 bami bengakababhali no-test 3 bengakababhali. Mase ngibuyele esikoleni kube sekulula lapho ukuthi mangibhala izifundo zami iphusheke ngiphase zonke futhi.
Those in matric here feel they've done too much repetition through this method.
Kune disadvantage ukuthi usuke ufundisa umsebenzi vele sengiwazi. Mina expectile mhlawumbe njengoba kune lockdown expect ukuthi mhlawumbe sizofunda term 2.
A 2-hour drive south takes us to Pinetown, where we meet Talente Ebekhulu, another matric pupil. He goes to Pinetown.
Very difficult because of this pandemic, and the most difficult part is that we're missing out on. I find it difficult to tutor myself.
This is where inequalities become clear. The expensive government school Talente goes to ensures he and other pupils communicate knowledges.
Normally, our teachers reach us by email, Google Classroom, and WhatsApp, and crafted by Google called Google Hangout, where we can have a conference. It's more similar like Skype, but our teachers normally, our English teacher basically normally does poetry on that platform. I normally understand better when a teacher sits down with me and explain the concepts that we studying.
Some high school pupils say they need assistance with internet access, so they too can access more information.
At time to time, we have data problems.
Uma kuyenzeka ukuthi basisiza ngedata, isifiso sami ukuthi yena besisize ngedata engango 5 gigabytes. Lapho besizokwazi ukuthi singene kuwonke ama section, singene futhi na online ama data engasheshi ukuthi ephele futhi masingena khona.
It's not clear what this year's school education plan is. A promise to start coding classes for some pupils was also made during the State of the Nation address. But that plan can't properly go ahead because of the current COVID-19 challenges.
Awunazo-ke Mzansi sesibuya SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Sengibuyile futhi nenye tip bafethu ngoba sinithanda net kanjalo. Now futhi-ke manje bafethu nangantshela nokuthi kahle kahle be smart. Keep in touch with your friends and the rest of the world on social media. Akumelanga uzuye ngaphandle untante emgaqweni and roam around the streets. So make sure that you practice social isolation and just keep tabs with your friends on social media because as of Tini, the socials always connect you and I just like they always connect. Ikeleza nathi now lapha. We're ready to continue.
We are indeed. We're going on to antonyms. So what's an antonym? Don't look. What's an antonym?
Yo, Janet, and does no was.
Gazi. Okay, right. If we go to nym, an easy way to try to remember it. Okay, so you say, I have synonyms and antonyms and acronyms and homonyms. Now, you might not remember all of these, but I'm telling you that our viewers out there will know all of these. So say to a word, it has to. Okay, so a synonym is a word with a similar meaning, an acronym a word, whatever, homonyms, words. So antonyms must be words. Now, what is anti with? So an antiviral, and you're never anti-galezanati, God forbid. But yeah, so
anti just simply means that you oppose whatever.
Good. So an antonym is a word with an opposite meaning. Okay. Yeah. So antonyms are words in opposite in meaning. So, but try, my love of word attack skills. Try to learn a word in a different way, by coming through the meanings of words and prefixes and suffixes and roots and things like that. Okay. So we need antonyms. Once again, please look at the question. Write only, whatever, and the correct answers. Okay, so antonyms, please.
Hand washing with soap is?
I want opposites. Okay, so start by saying what's a synonym. What does it mean if you do something seldom?
You're not doing it too much, but
okay, so you're saying not too much. Now, if you then said, okay, hand washing with soap is too much practice, do you think, they only wanted one word. So you're gonna think again, but I want us always to model this. So you're sitting in the exam and you say, all right, so if I do this seldom, tell me something that I do seldom. I seldom eat meat. It's not that I don't do it much, it's that I don't do it.
You barely do it.
You barely do it. Okay. Yeah. So I'm getting towards not often. That's what I'm trying to get to. And then your antonym will be often. Okay. But keep playing with it. This kind of advice that I'm giving you is for what to do in an exam. Don't expect everything just to come quickly into your mind, but sit and think. Chew the back of your pen or whatever it is, think for a while. Don't worry about all the other students in that exam venue all writing and you think they're doing so well, I'm not writing, I'm doing badly. No, let them get on with their exam. I'm thinking until I get the best answer, the most accurate answer. All right, and this one is opposite of difficult.
Easy?
Yes, I was about to say this one is easy to answer and then realized, be quiet. Okay, so how do I do it? I just write those words down. Right, antonyms. What do you think?
So antonym being the word that has a similar meaning? Or
Opposite.
the opposite?
No, synonym
opposite.
is the similar. Hang on. Synonym is a similar meaning. Antonym, remember we said anti means opposed. So this is the one against, opposed, opposite. Right? So an opposite word?
For energetic. I wouldn't say tired or...
Oh, I don't mind that at all.
Okay.
So tired, energetic. So you're saying without... Oh, I do like we're getting some help in from outside the studio. Lethargic is wonderful. Just listen to lethargic. Can you hear what an exhausted word it is? I feel so lethargic today. You can't say, I feel so lethargic today. It just doesn't work. So lethargic, I said exhausted.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so, but do also what you did. You started with what is energetic? It is lively. So I need something that means the opposite of having life and energy. Can you do it with a prefix? Look at respect. Can you do it with a prefix? You are respectful, do not be disrespectful. So don't forget, I wondered about unenergetic, but I'm just maybe not good. So just check, if it says give an antonym, can you use a prefix or a suffix sometimes? Just check. I would say if this is the question, try to find a different word. If it says give an antonym for each of the words below using a prefix or using a suffix, then I would go with the prefix and the suffix. Otherwise, I wouldn't. So respect. If I show you respect, I am respect, I don't know, honor. So maybe I could use dishonor because now I'm not using the same word. I show you respect. I am, I don't know, admiring. I don't like admiring for respectful. But for me, dishonor, disrespect. And then brave, again, I think is easy to give an opposite. If you are brave, the opposite of that would be?
You are either fearful or you're coward.
I like fearful, I like cowardly. Okay, nice. All right. So, energetic, respect, brave. Can you use, here you couldn't even use a prefix or a suffix. It is impossible. Okay, now, which word is the antonym of strength?
Weak.
I want to disagree with you. What part of speech is strength? What part of speech is weak? Okay, if you said, I have strengths, I am naming for you what I have. I have a pen, I have a watch, I have a shirt, I'm naming it. It's a noun. Which is the noun of these two? This, yeah, it's this one. So this is your adjective. So the second thing that I'm trying to get, if we go back to this, we try to get the same part of speech. So in